The walls of Boston City Hall are coming to life with colorful works by a Haitian-American artist from East Boston. The works reflect her country of origin, but also her study in Europe and her keen observations of people, along with how they're conceived. The exhibition is titled Borderless Bird. We'd like to welcome the artist Colette Bresilla. Thank you very much for being with us, Colette.
Thank you, Chris, for inviting me.
Talk about how you became an artist. This is not something, I guess, that your parents were steering you toward when you were growing up.
Not at all. They were very much into other, I would call it, career league that they would already drawn down for the children. I mean, if you're from the Caribbean, that's pretty much the way it is. And no, they were not happy. Even when I entered art school, the Museum School of Fine Arts, they weren't too happy about it at all. And I was born an artist, and I had to follow my heart and my dream.
How did you discover that?
It was just natural. And the funny thing, it was just like, since I was a kid, I was very curious about photography and as well applique. And in the countryside of my country in Haiti, the farmers would wear like their clothes would be torn and they would patch them. And to me, that was fascinating. And I was always like, oh, I wish I could wear my clothes like that, but it wasn't part of. But then I started like hiding and cutting fabric because of my mother was like pretty much like into seamstress and doing other things like that. So I would take little pieces of the fabrics and hide and do my own little applique until my sister sold me out.
When I look at your paintings, I do think of fabric. I think of Matisse, and his family was in the textile business.
Yeah, that's one artist who was very much into, excuse me, the cutout especially. When you look at them, they do look like applique because he did a lot of cutout. And yes, Matisse. Never thought about that.
but I also think of the colors in Haiti, because I'm not talking about just fabrics. It could be buildings, even vegetation. Is that what you're drawing?
Very vibrant colors. And the thing is that about Haiti, regardless how the economic situation is, people always find a way of doing art. Buildings, whatever they find, they turn it into art. But my colors definitely reflect my background as a Haitian.
You do a lot of portraits of women. A lot of them are smoking pipes. What's the story behind that?
Oh, empowering women. And there are still a lot of struggle with women trying to climb the ladder of success, not only in this country, but around the world, and especially the third world countries. It's very hard on women to get anywhere. When you have the pipe becomes like your voice. It speaks. People have to wonder. And the thing is that in my country and also in Western African countries like Togo, Lomé, women do smoke pipes. And in Haiti, when you go to the marketplaces, like open air market, and you can see those women with their baskets on the top of their head and have a pipe and smoking pipes while they go into the supermarket or while they're selling their fruits and everything or whatever vegetables they're selling. So also I had some great aunts who used to smoke pipes. So it was like a circle of women smoking pipes, and I just used to find them fascinating. And especially when they have those wrinkles around their faces, it's just well pronounced, and to me they look wonderful. So the pipe becomes my way of empowering women.
How does it change? I mean, just you have a person with that in their hand, between their lips. How does that change the way they come across, you think?
Well, for some people, it depends on the viewers. To me, I'm just, like for instance, I paint a lot of geishas. And because geishas are so submissive, I take them as an example. So put a pipe in the mouth, because pipe is so masculine. The world, I guess, did not foresee that women would be into pipe smoking. So since it's a masculine object, so I put it in a woman's mouth. And I think it speaks the language that I'm trying to convey. A
more managerial geisha, shall we say. But of course, a lot of this about the portraits of women is that when you look at these portraits, you're seeing a mask, but you're also thinking, what's behind it?
What's behind it? Yes. Some of them tell their little stories. I'm just like, when I'm done painting a piece, I sometimes don't even know where I'm going because I just let the brush or the palette knife I'm using take me. And for instance, the piece that was put in the globe, when you look at her, she's wearing a pearl necklace, and yet with a pipe, and also part of her bra is showing. She's just speaking the language that I'm a woman, I'm classic, and yes, I am a woman, and nothing will change that. And yes, I am powerful as well. So that's the message in a way that comes across for certain people and to me as well. And at the same time, she has her own little secret, and it's up to you to figure it out. We all have to figure out what is the message. What is the message for me? And I know what the message is for me. But what is the message for the viewers? I leave it up to them.
What about some of the reaction from the community? Because, you know, people in Boston, I'd be hard-pressed to point to a painting by somebody from the Caribbean in any of the museums right now. Maybe it's because I don't know the museums well enough, but it must be something that when people hear it, they see this kind of work, and they say, my gosh, I didn't know that other people could do this.
Yeah, I just came across, I did a couple of events at the Museum of Fine Arts for summer events, and it was always why the pipe, and I don't think they were expecting people out there. I don't know how many artists are doing it, but truly in the Boston community, I am known as the pipe woman. And although I do not smoke the pipe, but I am known as the pipe woman. And it was always why the pipe. And the same answer that I just gave you, I just gave them the same answer. And it's nonstop. It's always why the pipe. And it's always the same answer to me because that's what it means to me. Empowering women, their inner voice, like speaking out to you, it's up to you to grab the message, and it's up to you what you do with it.
Finally, just the risk of being an artist, because you mentioned your parents wanted you to pursue, I guess, a more predictable career. There must have been moments along the way where you just don't know if it's going to work out, if you can sustain it sometimes.
It was very challenging and still challenging. And there are moments, right now I am working a job. So when I leave my work, I go straight to my studio and paint like 5 hours or 6 hours. Sometimes I would be in my studio until 12:30 in the morning or 1 o'clock. But that's who I am. If I don't paint, I die. I was born an artist. To me, certain people who decide not to paint anymore, I don't know what to say about that because there's no way you can be born an artist and not to produce art. It's impossible. So yes, there are certain points in your life you think about, like, is this really how this is going to be for me for the rest of my life? But that moment to me, I cannot say it's completely behind me, but I am right now, I feel like I'm on a level that I don't doubt. It doesn't matter if it's financially going to help me or not. This is who I am. I cannot change that, and I have to pursue it.
We should mention the paintings are on the 5th floor of City Hall, but if people want to see more online, you do have a website, right?
I do have a website. It's www.colettebresilla.com, and there are plenty there to see.
Thank you very much for being with us, Colette Bresilla.
Thank you so much, Chris, for inviting me.
And the exhibit's called Borderless Bird. We'll have more news in just a moment.